Ink resonance. In a world where every inked line held a note, Arya was a maestro. Blind since birth, she navigated not by sight, but by the symphony of images. In her soundproof studio, her fingers would dance over the pages of a manga, and she would hear its story, the bold crescendo of a battle, the soft adagio of a tearful goodbye. She was a composer, translating the silent art into sound for all the world to hear. The world called her a genius. Her anime scores were legendary, capturing the soul of the stories in ways no one else could. Awards lined her shelves, and her name was whispered with reverence. Yet, in the quiet moments between compositions, a profound loneliness echoed in her heart. She could hear the world's beauty, but felt forever separated from it. One afternoon, her manager and closest friend, Lena, burst into the studio, her voice buzzing with excitement. "Arya, you got it. The biggest project of the year. They want you to score the anime adaptation of Echoes of a Silent Blade." Later that night, Arya opened the first volume. As her fingers traced the introduction of the main character, a lone swordsman named Kayapur, a sound bloomed in her mind unlike any she had ever heard. It wasn't just a character theme. It was a soul, translated into music. Kaito's sound was a complex harmony. It was the sharp, clear ring of a striking sword, underscored by the melancholic hum of a forgotten lullaby. It was a melody of immense strength and courage, laced with a profound sorrow that resonated with the quiet loneliness in Arya's own heart. Arya was consumed. Days and nights blurred into one long composition. She ate at her piano, slept in her chair, her world shrinking to the paper stage where Kaito fought and struggled. Her music, once just brilliant, was now alive, filled with a passion and a desperate love that was all for him. Lena found her one evening, whispering to an open page. "You have to be careful, Kaito. That path is a trap." Lena's heart ached with worry. The line between Arya's work and her reality was dissolving. "Arya," Lena said softly, approaching her. "He's just lines on a page." Arya turned, her sightless eyes seeming to look right through Lena. "To you," she whispered. "To me, his sound is more real than anything." The first score for the anime was released and hailed as a masterpiece. At the premiere, Arya conducted the orchestra, her movements fluid and certain. On the massive screen behind them, Kaito moved in perfect sync to her music, his animated form given life by the sound of her love. The triumph was hollow. A week later, Lena delivered the news, her voice gentle. "The author just did an interview. He's confirmed the rumors. Kaito dies in the final volume." The world of sound around Arya crashed into a devastating silence. When the advance copy of the final volume arrived, its weight in her hands felt like a tombstone. Trembling, she opened it. She forced her fingers to read the story, to hear the frantic, heartbreaking crescendo of Kaito's final battle. Then she heard it. The final panel, Kaito, defeated. The sound wasn't a sad melody or a tragic chord. It was nothing. A void. The utter and complete silence of a beautiful sound being extinguished forever. It was a silence she could not bear. No, the word was a choked whisper in the silent studio. She stumbled to her piano, her hands finding the keys like a lifeline. "A sound that beautiful can't just end," she declared to the empty room. "I won't let it." She began to play. It was not a lament. It was a rebellion, a powerful, soaring melody of impossible hope and defiant love. She wasn't writing a score for his death. She was composing the sound of his survival. As the crescendo built, a strange resonance filled the air. She felt a warmth spread from her fingertips to the open manga on the stand. On the page, the black ink of Kaito's final, fatal panel began to shimmer with a soft, golden light, vibrating with the power of her music. Her music reached its peak, and she struck a final, perfect chord that hung in the air like a star. The light from the manga flared, filling the room for a brilliant instant, and then faded. The last of her strength gone, Arya collapsed over the keys. Arya awoke in her bed to the morning sun. Lena was sitting beside her, holding a phone, her smile wider than Arya had ever seen it. "You are not going to believe this," Lena said, her voice filled with wonder. The author. He changed the ending. On the screen was a video of the manga's author, looking baffled. "It was the strangest thing," he said to an interviewer. "I was about to ink the final page when I heard a new melody, a new theme. It was as if Kaito himself was telling me his story wasn't over." Lena handed Arya the newly released official version. She opened it to the last page. There, Kaito stood on a cliff, his battle over, watching a sunrise. Arya listened, and she heard his new sound. It was quiet, peaceful, and whole. It was the sound of hope. In her sunlit studio, Arya held the book to her chest. The silence of her loneliness was finally filled. She had fallen in love with the sound, and with her music, she had given it a new life. An ink resonance, echoing between their two worlds, forever.